Here we are again, back on number 6. Pomodoro number 6. Let's go actually start it. So loud. Okay. So we have a spare up and running, yeah? We could add additional tests to the whole idea of spares 0 and 10, for example, to make sure that that is being handled correct, but not much point at the moment. We know that it works, yeah? Maybe we can add additional tests later on to finalize all these. Okay, so Sperno, we are gonna finish with the strikes. Okay, we need to handle the strikes. So let's gonna see if this works. 63, that should be 19, 28, yeah? Just gonna see what happens. Yeah, as expected, it fails. You will have been an issue otherwise. Okay. There are a couple of quite a few things going on over here at the moment. We're just gonna stop this one for a second. That's what I need to do. Kind of the first one is the fact that a strike. Yeah, we have the idea of if something has been a strike, a spare, we need to be able to determine if something has been a strike as well. Moreover, there is another very important thing. When you have a strike, which is the first roll of a frame, that's the end of the frame, there is no second roll. And we are not taking into account that information anywhere. So, let's gonna go back to our test over here. And we need to add one new test. We need to add one new test over here. What happens when you have roll strike? But the first roll should still be true, yeah? Because you are starting on the new frame. So that is something that needs to happen. And as we can see in a second, it fails because it's false. It's gonna there. We can see over here that it's expecting to be true, but found false. Okay. So let's gonna start with that. Where do we have the first roll? Rolling over here. We are at the moment we are swapping back and forth. That is not gonna do. What are the, as we can see on the right hand side, if this is a roll and the number of pins was 10, then it's still a first roll. So okay, this is just not nice behavior. Doesn't really matter. We are gonna change that in a second. Okay, don't fret too much about it. Oops. Awesome. That test passes. And now, as we have said, this is just pretty much completely lawful, so we can do negate this. We put it over there, and we don't need nodes anymore. Okay, awesome. We could extract this, like, just to give it a nice name. Integer. Yeah, tapas is nice giving it a name. What else? What else? Ooh, now we have an interesting thing going on. Until now, its last French pair was just taking into account the two previous rows. Now the problem that we have over here is that that is not gonna work. Is it gonna work? No, it's not gonna work. When the previous roll over there, second roll, last frame. Interesting. And the way that I have done it, I think it's gonna make things a bit more complicated than probably this would have been if I had done a different rule. That starts to feel like I need to refactor this at this point in time, because otherwise I'm gonna make it far more complicated. Early on one of the previous episodes, I was talking about looking into the future, but this one is actually looking into the past. Okay, let's gonna get some tests for this. I can see some of the issues that go fine, but we need to always get the test ready for it. So the test is gonna confirm if that is the case, yeah? Okay, so we are indicating what is going to happen when the previous game was struck, the previous frame. So we're going to have again. Okay, so this one should be false, yeah? I think this is gonna work just because of the check for more than one score. I don't think that is if it's awesome. Now it feels like I'm missing a trick over here. Why is this one passing? You should have thrown exception. Not 100% sure about that. There is something over there that feels strange to me. Okay, just gonna check this one. in the square triangle was out of range. Because this one in fact is only true, yeah? Ooh, now we have two of them passing. Oh. Uh-huh. Interesting. I think we have found an issue here. Okay,